1 minute till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You're darn right, it's the Voice of Reason. Hey, welcome into the program. It is a Tuesday, the post-Monday celebration, the best day of the entire week. And I tell you that because it's just one day closer to the holiday. Hey, welcome into the program. Big stuff going on today. It's been a big day for news, has it not? We've had a lot of things happen that we've tried to stay on top of, so we'll get to all of it here on the program, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship station all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. No matter where you're at watching or listening, thank you for that. We appreciate it very, very much. Big day, big news, as we have a potential transition from Donald Trump to Joe Biden going on. Is that really happening? We'll talk about that here in just a second. Plus, we had the big news today with Donald Trump announcing the Dow Jones Industrial Average hitting over 30,000 points for the first time in American history.
The stock market Dow Jones Industrial Average just hit 30,000, which is the highest in history. We've never broken 30,000, and that's just despite everything that's taken place with the pandemic. I'm very thrilled with what's happened on the vaccine front. That's been absolutely incredible. It's nothing like that has ever happened medically, and I think people are acknowledging that, and it's having a big effect. But the stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000. Nobody thought they'd ever see it. That's the 9th time since the beginning of 2020, and it's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration, and I just want to congratulate all the people within the administration that work so hard. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the people of our country because there are no people like you. Thank you very much, everybody.
There it is. All right, President Donald Trump announcing 30,000 in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. First time ever. We just continue to win and continue to win. Now, the media is trying to say, well, it's after he announced that he was going to begin the transition to the Biden administration. We'll get to that here in just a second. Don't you worry. But obviously it's happening under Donald Trump's watch. Therefore, it is Donald Trump's economy. Imagine for just a second, if you will, we just shattered a record with over 30,000 points on the Dow Jones during a global pandemic that crippled our economy when we had to pretty much stop everything we were doing, make sure people were quarantined at home, shut down non-essential quote-unquote businesses, make people go into financial ruins, and then we continue to recover in a V-shape like he said we would, and then we end up hitting over 30,000 points on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But yet Donald Trump is the problem, right? Donald Trump's the problem. Joe Biden's going to save things. He's going to bring back the establishment, the status quo, just the go-with-the-flow mentality. He's going to be the one that saves it. But Donald Trump's the one that ended up creating a Dow Jones to hit over 30,000 points during a global pandemic. But yet, we decided to, according to the media, according to the left-wingers, we despise Donald Trump so much we voted to get him out of office. Not sure how that makes any sense. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. But congratulations to President Donald Trump and his administration and all of us for hitting that. It's big news. I mean, the economy's doing well. You know what that really means? Because I've heard some argue that, well, the Dow Jones really doesn't matter to us common folks, Andy. We're not really invested into the Dow Jones. We're not invested into the markets. We don't have enough money to do that. I don't. I get it. I'm right there with you. However, that does mean that you are buying things, that the stocks that are involved with it have products that are out for consumers to purchase, and you've purchased them, obviously, in enough fashion to where the stock market is going up and investors are getting paydays back because things are doing well, which means things must be doing relatively good. So what happens on Wall Street affects what's going on Main Street. So therefore, what's happening with the Dow Jones is a reflection to some degree of what's going on with us on a regular basis in the private market. So that's a win for all of us. And Donald Trump said that he was going to turn the Dow Jones around when he got into office. And after one of the slowest, longest, worst recoveries from a recession under Barack Obama, they say it was on the uptick and therefore everything that's going on is all Barack Obama. No, it's not. See, again, we need to go back to basic economics where if you do tax cuts and deregulation, the economy does well because businesses say, wow, I don't have to worry about the government coming down on me nearly as much, so I'm going to begin investing even before it starts to happen. And therefore, the economy goes up. When you just inflate and you spend money and you print money and you inject it into the system, yeah, it creates bubbles of well-being, but it bursts after a while because you can't sustain based on quantitative easing, is what they like to call it, and you can't sustain an economy based on a falsehood of just hiring a bunch of new public employees into the government, printing a bunch of money and inflating it into the economy and saying, voila, we created wealth. Not sure if you're aware or not, government cannot create wealth. So the fact that we hit over 30,000, we've had some ups and downs. We've had to bleed the system. You ever had to bleed your brakes? Anybody know how to do that? Oh, that's right. There's millennials out there that have long hair and nice beards and nice nice flannel t-shirts, but they don't know how to bleed your brakes or actually change your oil. So let me explain it to you. A lot of times, your brakes don't work too well. You have bubbles in the brake system, the brake lines, the fluid that goes through there. And if that is the case, you have to bleed them, which means you have to let it run until all the bubbles are out. So that way there are no air bubbles in there. So that way your brakes actually work. It's the same thing that goes on, at least in my opinion, a great analogy I like to try and use when trying to explain the economy, or at least the stock market, is that when you inflate money and you inject it in by printing money, then you create these bubbles. When they burst, then that's the brake system not working too well. You have to bleed the system by getting government out of it, getting the private market to actually work and function on its own again, which is very hard to do. So we have a lot of bubbles that end up like to burst in our economy. But the fact that we've hit it, even during a global pandemic, I think that's something that we should be congratulated on. And Donald Trump should be credited for that. Not Joe Biden, not Barack Obama. But according to the media, they put on those blinders and they've hidden themselves from that. So that's really big news. But the biggest news of the entire day, the biggest news out of all of it, it doesn't matter about the stock market, it doesn't matter about the transition team right now. Coming up at the bottom of the hour on the show, we're going to be talking with Paul Preston with a new California state. He's working on that. We'll see how far that is from actually happening. But above all of that, the biggest news of the day, of course, is this.
Today is my honor to present to you this year's lucky bird, corn, and just in case we needed him, cob. Corn and cob. That's not too hard to remember, is it?
Corn and cob. The turkey is officially being pardoned by the President of the United States, an annual tradition that really started near George H.W. Bush as they made it a routine thing. The very first one from Abraham Lincoln is his son pleaded with his dad to not kill the turkey, but instead to pardon a turkey to save them because they were friends. I don't really necessarily understand this whole tradition. If I were president, I would be the first one to probably stop it and be like, we're going to choose these selected to be the special ones that the president gets to actually kill for the turkey dinner, and those ones would be on the White House dinner table with all of our great friends and family. I would turn that into a tradition, but it was a hard-fought battle. Corn and cob, congratulations to those turkeys officially winning the pardonship of the President of the United States. It was a hard-fought battle. They came out of a farm out of Iowa this year, and they campaigned and canvassed all over the state of Iowa, hoping to gain your support, and they almost lost. They lost to Biscuits and Gravy, the two turkeys that won the election legitimately, but Corn and Cob were so desperate to be pardoned and not be on a dinner table that they ended up getting some overnight late mail-in ballots to come in to save their giblets. Was that a good one? Was it a good joke? Maybe? There it is, your joke of the day. Thank you. I'll be here for the next 45 minutes. So there it is. We have the turkeys that were pardoned, the biggest news of the day. Now, there was something positive that came out of that speech from President Donald Trump when it comes to Thanksgiving as a whole, other than just the cute little pardoning of the turkeys. I get it.
Today is my honor to present to you this year's lucky bird, corn, and just in case we needed him, cob. Corn and cob. That's not too hard to remember, is it?
Outside of the cheesiness of pardoning the two turkeys and talking about corn and cob, there was some other decent things here that really triggers the media and the left-wing progressives, especially around this time of year, which is why they really try to put the blinders on and shun themselves from this holiday and just say happy holidays as opposed to happy Thanksgiving. I know. This is what President Trump went on to say after the pardoning of the turkeys.
This year, our nation commemorates the 400th anniversary of the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock. After arriving in the New World, the brave men and women of the Mayflower endured a bitter and dangerous winter, very, very dangerous winter. Many were sick, most were starving, and all were praying for a miracle. Thankfully, God heard their prayers. From our earliest days, America has always been a story of perseverance and triumph, determination and strength, loyalty and faith. This week, in a time that is very unusual, but in so many ways very, very good, what we've endured and been able to endure with the vaccines now coming out one after another. It's an incredible thing that happened. One of the greatest medical achievements that this planet has ever seen. But it's time to remember that we live in a great, great country, the greatest of them all, and there's nothing even close as far as I'm concerned. Every American can be united in thanksgiving to God for the incredible gifts he has bestowed upon us, the blessings of family, community, and this exceptional, beautiful, and great country. It's greater than ever before.
All right. There it is, the Happy Thanksgiving uniting speech that I think is very beautiful. And that's why we love President Donald Trump. How many presidents say things, that religiously, by the way, too, that talk about religion, that talk about God that much, and then try to talk about the unity. Now, of course, the media is going to shun it, probably not air any of that speech in any way, shape, or form, except for the whole corn and cob stupid thing, because that's the big news of the day. But we can't be talking about religion, and we can't be talking about faith, because there are a lot of similarities. And I'm glad he brought it up. I think it's beautiful. From the founding of this nation and the pilgrims that came over, struggling, suffering their very first winter here, the harsh winter that they had to endure, the number of people that died, that gave their lives trying to survive here on this new land for the very first time, not knowing what to expect, not having a whole lot of food, having a lot of disease run rampant as it goes into the winterized season. And yet we have the same thing right now with the virus spreading around globally. We have the same thing happening right now as we are trying to self-quarantine, as we are trying to be close to family, but yet not really be close to family. When we're trying to celebrate the holidays, but yet try and keep our distance and do our own survival to some degree, which I want to get into here in the show in a little bit as well. But I think it's beautiful as we this year go into what we're thankful for Thanksgiving. Now, tomorrow on the show, we're going to have a little bit more lighthearted Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for this year. But with this speech today from President Donald Trump, with us needing to remember what to be thankful for in a time of hardship, especially during a time of a pandemic when a small business may be shutting and people can't put food on the table. When people may be getting evicted out of their homes here soon because it's the holidays and they don't have any more money because they haven't been able to get the assistance they actually need. When it's difficult to sometimes remember what we're thankful for, I think there's a lot of similarities between this year and what happened the very first winter so many years ago here in the nation as we tried to craft a brand new nation on a brand new land. Now the media is going to turn that around and use it in a different light and say that we were, of course, the evil white man that came over to take the land from the Native Americans and that we just tried to come over and spread disease to the Native Americans. So whatever Donald Trump just said in that speech trying to bring unity in what we're thankful for under God, they want to take that away and say, no, that's not what that was about. What it was about was trying to spread viruses, spread disease, and kill off the Native Americans and take all their land. Therefore, we should not be celebrating Thanksgiving in any way, shape, or form because we're just a bunch of evil jerks that overtook this land. And we can see how bitter they are internally and how much they don't want to actually appreciate the season for family and friends. So we're not going to acknowledge them this year because they're nuts, even though they're excited to try and take over with a Joe Biden administration, if that's what's going to happen. Take a break. Lots to get to today on a Tuesday here on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Tuesday, the post-Monday celebration. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Hey, I'm really excited. So if you have not done it yet, make sure to sign up for our newsletter. That's going to be coming out next week for the beginning of December. Can you believe it? We're already at the end of November already, but our newsletter is going to be out. We are about ready to announce a new show joining the Hooser Media Network, a new podcast. If you're into the sports thing, is they're going to be doing a fantasy football show. Looking forward to that. So more information to come. Make sure to sign up for the newsletter. Go to HooserReason.com and you can sign up when it pops up. It'll say, do you want to become a Hoosier-holic? You say, yes, I do. You type in your email, totally free. We're not going to spam you all the time, just a monthly email that you can sign up for, and we'll have some information about the show. We'll have some guest information about the stuff coming up on the show, guests that we've had on the program, plus the latest with the Hooser Media Network, as we are working hard behind the scenes for a lot of stuff, but a new show about ready to jump on board with us, and I'm super excited about that if you're involved in fantasy football in any way, shape, or form. So those guys about ready to jump on here officially with the Hooser Media Network. I got a few laughs from my joke. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's get into what's trending today. What do you say?
What's trending today?
Now, outside of the turkey pardoning, that is by far the most important story that you've heard all day long. There has been concern about the whole Donald Trump trying to fight to stay in power and the litigation going on. And there's been a lot of misinformation, obviously, with that out there, as they say, well, Andy, there's been court case after court case being dropped at the local, municipal, and district courts. Okay, first off, that's not true. There have been, but those aren't from the Trump team. The Trump team ones, there's only like 3 or 4 actual lawsuits from the Trump legal team, and they're going to the Supreme Court, and they're being heard like as we speak kind of thing. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, but then we just had the official word from Michigan be called yesterday for Joe Biden. Although the breaking news that I just heard over the break actually was that Pennsylvania and Michigan, along with one other state legislature, are all coming out to do a public hearing publicly with the state legislature, who are the ones, by the way, that nominate the Electoral College voters. So they're the ones that decide the election proceedings in their states, and then they're the ones that actually nominate the Electoral College voters. So they're doing public hearings in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and somewhere else. So that's somewhat big news. We'll wait to hear what's going on there. But Rush Limbaugh just mentioned, what was a day or two ago, I heard. I didn't get to hear it. I don't get to listen to him a whole lot. I don't get to listen to really any talk radio because I'm so busy doing other things. But there was a story from the Daily Wire that ran that he said that it's time for the legal team for Trump to really put up or shut up, pretty much. That it's time for them to announce the big thing that they promised, this big bombshell. They promised the big Hollywood bust that's going on, the blockbuster movie that is the conspiracy of the election being rigged. And yet they haven't provided any evidence. Now, they held a press conference just a few days ago or a week ago, whenever it was, and they said they have lots of evidence, but they really didn't show any. Now, here's my thought. I have been more frustrated than probably anybody else because I'm ready. Let's make this happen. If there's really election fraud going on, if there is a rigging of an election, then let's make it happen. Let's expose it. Let's bring it down. Let's expose the corruption because we want to do something about it. I know you want to do something about it, and many are starting to turn away and be like, all right, I guess there's nothing here. Then we see the tweet that came out yesterday, just about 24 hours ago, from Donald Trump. I want to thank Emily Murphy at the GSA for her steadfast dedication and loyalty to our country. She's been harassed, threatened, and abused, and I do not want to see this happen to her, her family, or employees of the GSA. Our cases strongly continue. We will keep up the good work and the good fight, and I believe we will prevail. Nevertheless, it is the best interest of our country that I am recommending that Emily and her team do what needs to be done with regards to initial protocols and have told my team to do the same. Meaning, the media has run with it that The official transition of powers has officially begun between the administrations. Is that a cause for concern? Is that something that we need to be wary of while we continue to fight the battle? But yet the transition of powers process has officially begun, according to Donald Trump. I want to talk about that coming up in the next half hour a little bit and get your thoughts on it. Is it a worrisome thing? Do they have the evidence, or is the blockbuster just being on hold and waiting for the appropriate time to be released? We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. Plus, Paul Preston, he'll be joining us next to talk about a new California state. Is it going to happen, and is that something that's actually in the works on the West Coast? Stay here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right you are. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting all over the country. Thanks for joining us as you do each and every day here on a post-Monday celebration. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand it the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. You can find us all over social media with our live streaming right now. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. Also on Parler.com and on Minds.com. All at the handle at Hooser Reason. No I in Hoosier. Unlike the state, Hooser Reason. You can find us on there. Also on the website at HooserReason.com. Plus, we just started our Rumble account, kind of the alternative to YouTube, as we are trying to grow on all these social media platforms. And now they don't do live, as far as I'm aware. I'm trying to look more into this thing. They don't have the live. However, what they do have is afterwards trying to upload the show thereafter. So we're going to be doing that as well. So you can go to rumble.com as well, and you can find us at Hooser Reason there. Of course, the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites all over on your podcasting sorts. There it is. Let's shift gears a little bit. What's trending today?
What's trending today?
What's trending today is there a movement going on in California? Now, we have a lot of listeners in California. Actually, over the weekend, we had a massive amount of downloads out of California. Not sure where from, so thank you for that. But if you're listening in California, I feel bad for you because California is such a crazy, wild state. It's so beautiful. I've been there twice, briefly. But I feel bad because California is kind of run by nutsos when it comes to especially the environmentalist movement and the high taxes, the high regulations, the high spending, whatever they do out there with all the Hollywood elite crazy. So I figured, is there an opportunity to change California, or do you just walk away and say you can't deal with it? So I'm really excited for our next guest. He is the founder and president of the Movement for a New California State. He is also host of Red State Talk Radio's Agenda 21 Radio. We're excited to have on the program with us here Paul Preston. Paul, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Well, hey, thank you very much for having me. And my dad is from Pratt, Kansas.
Oh yeah, so you guys originally from here. That's right. No, it's everybody's got ties to Kansas. Although I've realized that there are so many people that choose to move here to Kansas, which I guess I'm one of those, but it's beautiful. I don't know if it's as beautiful as California, but living in the heartland, we get to be that flyover place that no one cares about.
Well, the flyover territory of the United States of America is quite beautiful. Every place in the United States is beautiful. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have some leadership in some of these places that's not so beautiful. And California happens to be one of them.
California does happen to be one of them. Talk about what's going on in California. We hear the horror stories that happens in some cities where You have the smell violations if you're barbecuing in your backyard, and you have the, the taxes there. You have, the massive amounts of illegal immigrants that flood the border. You have the massive high tax rates. You have the massive regulations. I don't understand why people continue to live there, but then when they move, they end up moving, but yet voting for the same policies wherever they go. So we have some work to do in California, don't we?
Yeah, they have a lot of work to do, and basically what they need to do in California is reshape themselves, and that's what we're forcing them to do with the new California state movement. We're becoming the 51st state. We've already established ourselves constitutionally. We declared ourselves independent on January 15, 2018, and since then we've read as of today, 126 grievances against the state of California, explaining to the public and the public forums of every county in this state why we want to separate from California. And the other part of that is we've had 7 constitutional conventions. We've actually created a governance system itself, a bicameral legislature. We have an executive branch. We also have a judiciary. We have passed 26 resolutions. 2 of the resolutions we presented to the President of the United States. He accepted the hard copies, actually. And at this point in time, we're developing our preliminary draft constitution. In fact, I had just spent a couple hours on the phone with people putting this whole thing together, our delegates, super delegates that we selected at the last constitutional convention, of which we had Candace Owens come out and support New California. She spoke, and so did Dinesh D'Souza. And the convention before that, Mike Huckabee came out and he spoke in support of New California in February. So we're moving. We plan to become the 51st state in very short order. Probably, we're going to get past the statehood process here in California probably by the end of December, early January, and then move right on to Congress to become the 51st state within 2 years following that.
Wow. I didn't know that there was so much traction. I had heard the rumors that people had wanted to do this. I had heard the stories that people had tried to do this, but I didn't know there was actually traction behind this. So this is actually a realistic thing that's going to happen soon. It's
happening.
Wow.
It's really happening. And it's not a woulda, coulda, shoulda, and when is it going to happen? It is actually happening. It's playing out in real life. And, we're sort of the best kept secret. There's been over 220 attempts to split California up. And we're the only constitutional movement that has justification to move forward to actually split the state up following Article 4, Section 3 of the Constitution, and then that modeling, of course, West Virginia. They were the last one to do this back in 1861, but we're the first one in California to actually officially get this far and realistically break up the state. So it is going to happen. It's going to happen probably, like I said, finally 2 years after we get into Congress. That's kind of the normal time frame when a state is presented either as a territory or as a new state coming in. It takes about 1 to 2 years to get through the process of the Congress before they actually give you statehood status. But we'll get through the state process here pretty soon.
Wow, unbelievable. Now, talk about where the divide would actually be. Is it just kind of Northern California? I mean, where would the boundaries actually be between the new California and the old California?
Well, everybody has their vision of how you would cut up California, and fortunately for me, it was a gift that I basically was presented with. It at some point in time, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to divide California up and what would be the most equitable. And so everybody thinks of a 50-50 split. And so we tried all kinds of configurations to try and get a 50-50 split. And we tried demographics. We did the political demographics, and finally it just dawned on me one night. I said, where's the population centers at? Just look at it from urban versus rural. That was the decision. So when we did that, we found that there's 40 million people roughly in California. And when we looked at the LA basin, we looked at San Francisco and the Sacramento basins, those areas, they have 20 million people in them. Mm. But the rest of California, about 90% of the state, has 19.5 million. And so I said to myself, we don't have to be a mathematical genius to realize you just hit parity on the rural versus urban situation.
Sure.
So that's going to be the state. That's what we're proposing, and we're going to stick to it. We don't think the state of California has much to negotiate on. They really, because they're financially destitute. Right now, the schools are closed. And, of course, all the craziness that you're hearing about Governor Newsom being a dictator. He's actually the very first dictator in American history in any state. He absolutely is. He ignores and does not follow any of the edicts or any of the bills that come out of the the legislature. In fact, he doesn't have to because he has an executive emergency order because of the COVID virus that allows him to do whatever he wants to do. He is the judiciary, he is the legislature, and he is the dictator. And he just lost a lawsuit in which proclaimed him the dictator and said he can't do it anymore, but he's going to defy it. You watch. He'll defy it and try and remain in office as long as possible as a dictator, coming down with these crazy edicts, which, of course, now the latest one is a curfew, in which he's instituted a curfew, and everybody's in defiance of that. But, we keep trying to tell people out here, there's a curfew coming for a reason. All this masking is a conditioning effect that's had upon everybody. And especially as a result of the so-called COVID virus business, which out here it's really not a real thing. It really isn't, and I think most people realize that. But state government officials here are all terrified by the governor because he's going to hold back money that he doesn't have.
Sure.
So it's really a kind of a destitute situation. But we realized that we had to do something about this years ago because we could see the socialist communist pattern developing in California, one-man leadership, dictatorship. And here it is now, finally.
Yeah, it's definitely here. We're talking with Paul Preston, host of the radio show Agendas 21 Radio, also the president and the founder of the Movement for a New California State. Let's talk about the logistics here. Let's talk about what it would take in Washington, D.C. If we have right now, obviously right now we have the toss-up and the runoff in Georgia that's going to either show a majority or a lack of majority for Republicans in the U.S. Senate. Right now, if we have to have a vote in Congress that would potentially create a brand new state, create 2 more senators up there in California that obviously would look like they would be more Republican or conservative than what it is in the state. I mean, is that something that DC's concerned about if we split and have another state with 2 more senators going up there that would potentially give Republicans more of a majority?
Well, it will give Republicans more of a majority. Right now, currently, in the current status of California, they have 53 members of the Congress, and that's 55 electoral votes. Well, California currently has, as this election cycle has gone through, looks like 10 of those are Republicans, and of course the rest are going to be Democrat. We think there's some races that still haven't been cleared up. But the bottom line to it is that we will split those delegates or those members of the House of Representatives. We'll have 26 delegates or 26 members of the House. And of the electoral votes, there's 55. We'll have 27 of those. Wow. And yes, they will be they're conservative. If you take a look at the rural areas of California, and I've said this all along, California is at least 75 to 80% conservative. Shocking, as I boldly make that statement. I've traveled to every county and done my own assessments that the thing that drives everything in California is the corrupt election system, which the whole country just experienced in this last election cycle. We're used to this. We've seen this so many times where the Democrats automatically get 55 electoral votes coming out of California because the system here has been corrupted for at least 20 years.
I tell you what, Paul, we got to take a break. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Sure.
Hey, very good. I appreciate that. Paul Preston, founder, president in the Movement for a New California State. Let's talk about the logistics, how to make this happen, what it would look like with a 51st state in the nation as a new California. All that and more coming up here on The Voice of Reason for a Tuesday. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
It goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. This is by far the fastest hour of radio on radio. Just saying. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Last segment left, right here, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Your Millennial General reporting for duty as we do every single day. Just a segment left here with Paul Preston. He's the founder and president of the Movement for a New California State. He's also host of Red State Talk Radio's Agenda 21 Radio You can find the website at newcaliforniastate.com, newcaliforniastate.com, as I was not aware how much traction this was actually gaining. I knew that people had talked about it. I knew that people wanted to do this because Californians go crazy in many places. But the fact that it's actually gaining traction is really fascinating to me, Paul, so I appreciate that. I'm concerned that government just won't like it very much because right now Democrats have a really slim chance a slim margin of majority in the House of Representatives. They're trying to keep control of the Senate or take control of the Senate right now. And if we have two more senators that majoritively may go Republican, we have some more House of Representative members that may turn Republican as we kind of split the population vote in California. I'm just hoping that they're not going to try and shut it down at the D.C. level, while at the same time, they're trying to actually make Washington, D.C. a legitimate state so they can get two guaranteed blue senators into the U.S. Senate. So I guess it would kind of wash itself out if both of them end up happening, wouldn't it?
No, actually, the D.C. thing is a complete ruse by the Democrats. It'll never happen. You have to have a constitutional convention for the U.S. Constitution to make that happen, and that's not going to fly. It's part of it's its own district. It's constitutionally set in stone. So that's a ruse. It's always been a ruse. It's always been the big ploy. The only other state that possibly could recur from this is Puerto Rico. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because of the debt load. The whole thing comes down to finances, really. And California is so deeply in debt. They're $120 billion in debt right now as we speak. It's kind of like, in comparison, you wake up and you go to bed last night and you check your checking account, your savings, and you got $3,000 here and $3,000 there. You wake up the next morning and you look at it on your computer and you find out you're $3 million in debt.
Yeah.
And you got to write bills and pay your house payment. You can't do it. That's what's happened to California, and that's what's happening to all these other blue states. So the financial end of things, we're going to be able to completely turn the financial situation here in California 180 degrees the opposite direction because we're not going to be a socialist economy anymore. We're going to be a free market economy, which is always what has made California great and the nation great. But since the last 20 years, they've turned it into a socialist dictatorship. The economy has gone flat. They've pushed out, thousands, tens of thousands of businesses. And of course, right now we're suffering under an extreme situation with this governor closing down everything with the COVID virus business. So it's going to be a win-win, we think, ultimately for not just New California, but a win-win for California and a win-win for the nation. Yeah. And we think that the nation is going to want to have a new state made in short order.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think a lot of people would be really excited about it. Some might actually even look at moving back to their homeland, which is parts of that Northern California. I mean, they might actually enjoy it again.
We have that going on right now. You'd be surprised. Real estate agents and everybody are going, yeah, we like this new California because people want to move back. And they're getting the word out, obviously, which is, that's a really good thing. But, again, our position is we want it to be a win-win for the nation. And that's why we know that I don't care if they're Democrats that are in the Senate or wherever they're going to be, they're going to want to do this deal for everybody's sake and even for their own sake. And again, you've got a number of states that are blue, they're in trouble. You've got Illinois, you've got Oregon, you got Washington, and certainly New York. And we've been contacted by people. We already have a movement in Illinois right now called the New Illinois Movement. They declared independence on the 17th of October. We already have one in Nevada, that's going, and we've been contacted by people in New York who want to do the same modeling that we've done because we're doing it constitutionally correct by following Article 4, Section 3 of the Constitution. So that's what gives it its real legs is what happens in the Constitution.
Sure.
And we went back to the model of 1861. This has not been done since 1861. This making of a new state following the Constitution. So it's pretty amazing what we've been able to pull together. And really, it's an understanding of the Constitution from an originalist standpoint and then looking at history. What did they do the last time they did this? And we're following that model, and it is working.
Actually following the process. I love it. Paul Preston, president and the founder of the movement for a new California state. You can visit him online, newcaliforniastate.com. Also on Twitter at newcalistate as well. Paul, let's do this again real soon. Let's get another update. Let's continue to follow this. Awesome. I think it's fascinating. I'd love to get you on again.
Thank you very much.
Hey, absolutely. Appreciate that very much. That does it for us today here on The Voice of Reason. Podcast going up in a little bit. Until then, be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth. and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. Everybody have a great Tuesday evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.